We're honored to have His Excellency President Volodymyr Zelensky joining us live from Ukraine. President Zelensky has demonstrated powerful leadership throughout the war. Mr. President, you and your nation have shown strength, tenacity, and heroism in the face of aggression. President Zelensky, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear President David Malpass and dear Managing Director of IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, I would like to greet all those who are attending this historical meeting of the World Bank. And a few days ago, I spoke with Ms. Kristalina Georgieva, and I heard very important words from her about Ukraine. We talked about life in our city, Kharkiv. It's the biggest city of eastern Ukraine. The Russian troops are bombarding and firing at it for some weeks, and those parts where Russian weapons can reach, over 1,000 houses have been ruined. Russian artillery, Russian missiles, Russian air bombs do not discriminate between who to kill and which buildings to blow up or set on fire. In downtown Kharkiv and at the side streets, it's equally dangerous, and people can die from Russian strikes. But you should know our people, the residents of Kharkiv. Even during the war, during those firing strikes, Kharkiv has remained a functioning city. And Ms. Kristalina pointed out that despite everything, they are planting flowers in Kharkiv. They are trimming the trees and cleaning the streets and keeping the city in a good shape. That's what our Kharkiv is like. That's what our country is like. We were able to liberate 3 northern provinces of the country from the occupiers. That's Kyiv, Chernihiv, and Sumy. And we are doing everything now to bring normal life back there. Russian troops have destroyed or damaged tens of thousands of buildings. Almost all objects of social sphere have been burned down or require fixing. Thousands of people have been killed. Most businesses have been destroyed. We are bringing back electricity, communication lines, water supplies. We are renewing transportation lines, building up temporary bridges on the rivers. We are continuing building social administrative services, and every day we remove mines and booby traps left by the Russian militaries. Imagine they were even putting those mine traps in people's homes, in home equipment, and even in the agricultural fields. But despite all this, our people are coming back home. Ukrainians are doing everything in order to bring back normal life, because that's who we are, Ukrainians. In the east of our country, in Donbas, in the south, the situation is even harder, and right now active combat action is going on. Russia is still trying to build up a new and atrocious offensive operation. I can give you just one number so you understand the scale of our experiences. Owing to bombardment and fire strikes, there have been 1,141 educational institutions ruined or damaged. That includes schools, nursery schools, universities, all across the country. Not every country of the world has so many institutions of education as Russians have ruined in Ukraine. And if we are talking about schools and colleges, you can imagine how many other places that have been ruined. That's hospitals, infrastructural objects, businesses, etc. Russian investment has damaged, given tremendous damage. At the very preliminary evaluation, Ukraine has lost 550,000 billions in the value of the destruction. Russia has blocked our ports in the Black Sea and Sea of Azov. This has reduced our export, including agrarian export, and it already impacts world food safety. A recent UN report said that 47 million people in 81 countries of the world will starve because of growth of prices for food. And this is not about physical shortage of food in many countries of Africa and Asia. This will also cause political instability and maybe a new migration crisis. People will look for the guilty, those who are guilty in that, and they will go out on the streets. They will look for a way to save themselves. We are doing everything we can in order to build up the export of our product, and we have started sowing sowing in the fields as much as we can, but nobody in the world can be sure that we'll be able to guarantee food security as long as this war is going on. To stop the war now and to liberate our territory from the Russian invaders is the only secure way to stop the development of a food crisis. Russian military are aimed at destroying all objects in Ukraine that can serve as an economic base for life. That includes railroad stations, food warehouses, oil refineries, etc. At this time, we need up to $7 billion US dollars each month to make up for the economic losses, and we will need hundreds of billions of dollars to rebuild all this later. I'm sure that all of you have seen those calculations. We have to speak honestly with you and say that Russia is using aggressive methods in world markets while fighting this war. They are creating such conditions so not only food market but also fuel market and other raw materials markets would face instability. Russia has provoked the growth of prices for energy resources in Europe and the whole democratic world. They are slowing the sales to especially for natural gas to create painful prices for European consumers. This and other examples show that Russia can no longer be considered a normal and reliable supplier of energy resources, a normal and reliable trade partner. We all can implement such decisions which will not only stop the aggressive intentions of Russia and who not only support Ukraine in this war, but will also show all potential aggressors in the world that if you create problems for other nations, this means you will create problems for yourself. Because if we don't do that, then millions and millions of people in the world will suffer more than once from aggressive action of some countries. So what steps are needed now, right now? First is immediate support for Ukraine so that the leadership of Russia knew that war will not allow them to implement any of their aggressive goals. Details of such financial support, I'm sure, will be presented by our Prime Minister and Minister of Finance who are present at this meeting. We must do everything so that Ukrainians had everything they need for survival and life, even despite the war. And as I mentioned, the city of Kharkiv at the beginning, and this applies to all other cities and communities of Ukraine. Number two, we need immediately to exclude Russia from all international financial institutions, IMF, World Bank, and others. That's not the place for a country that is trying to build the life of a neighborly nation. Number three, a special tax on war is needed. Russia, and after that, any other aggressor must pay for destroying global stability. Such tax must be applied to all, without exception, trade operations with the Russian Federation or with Russian companies, for all export and import operations, for all financial operations that are not blocked yet. the costs from that war tax must be used to help Ukraine to renew everything that Russia has destroyed. And if this tax is applied to another aggressor, then those costs must be directed to the victims of that war. The world needs a working, effective instrument to react to destructive action, but all those who doesn't want to support collective security. So I'm sure that such a war tax can be a tool of that kind. Number 4, every country of the world must immediately prepare to break up all relations with Russia. No one should be dependent on the political whims of the leaders of that country. If the world is prepared to isolate Russia completely, then the Russian leadership will have a motivation to avoid any war. Number 5, those assets of the Russian state that already have been blocked and of the Russian elites, but that is not all their assets that we know. This blocking has to be continued. Those efforts have to be continued, and that's not a goal in itself. Those monies that were blocked and frozen have to be used to rebuild Ukraine after the war, as well as to pay for the losses caused to other nations. If there is starvation started in some regions due to Russia's war, those frozen assets can be used to pay for the assistance and compensation. We must use all our strength so that Russia feels be punished for this war, and also feel how big is the need to bring back peace, including for Russia itself. So by helping us, we are helping to stabilize the world in general and fix market problems, including beginning with the food market. And your support, with your financial support, we will quickly rebuild our nation. That means new opportunities for business from different countries, for not just economic growth, but also this will be a specific proof that global financial institutions are capable to work in the interest of rank and file people and of mankind in general. I would like one of our next meetings take place in Ukraine, in one of our cities that were rebuilt with your support, maybe in Kharkiv. Thank you for your attention, and glory to Ukraine.
Дякую.